Did you know what the word parlay meant before this?
Parlay.
No, parley. Parley. Somebody's been reading the dictionary over there. I had to. Hold on here. I will find the spot. Find the page. Wait. It's not parsec. It's not parsimony. Parley, not parlay, parley, P-A-R-L-E-Y, a discussion or conference, especially between opponents, is what a parley is. A parlay is a bet comprising the sum of a prior wager plus its winnings, or a series of bets made in such a manner. Point is,
that's why I was confused.
the often used trope in wrestling of a parlay. What the fuck? They had to figure out a way to hotshot advertising that these two teams for the Blood and Guts, the Pinnacle and the Dinner Circle, were going to be in the ring together for ratings and people thinking they're going to get in a fight. Do you remember all the times that JJ and Dusty sat down and on the Horsemen and the Dusty's team sat down in the middle of the ring to discuss the rules and the terms of their War Games match?
No,
of course you don't.
The only time anyone would sit down together would be in the offices of the promotion, where you usually have the promoter or the figurehead at the head of the table and other officials in the room to kind of guarantee there would be no unprofessional activity.
Yes, but in this case, because they needed a rating, which they didn't get, they just, well, we're just all going to be there. Here's this angle between these two teams started with a vicious, violent, criminal assault and beating which led to hospitalization, and 4 weeks later ended up with nasty words being exchanged. So the Dinner Circle ride in on motorcycles, because that always makes you look like a bad guy, a badass. Of course, there's 5 of them, and from the tube to the stage is 15 feet. So they just basically buddened out 10 feet on motorcycles, and then they got pyro. And then they had to wait forever for 2 choruses from the paid singing fans of Judas. And then Tony Schiavone gives the rules with the teams. It's the same rules as it's always been. None were changed. And then they went to toss the coin, and Spears stopped it and did a promo that I didn't actually get. And their intention here was to have everybody speak to their counterpart in the other team, except thankfully for Wardlow and Hager, who don't need to speak at all. But Spears being the first one kind of didn't kick this thing off with a lot of oomph, but he's knocking Sammy Guevara, and Sammy Guevara then turns around and gives the Pinnacle the advantage in the Blood and Guts and the War Games. So they're going to get the 2-on-1, the 3-on-2, etc., the man advantage at the staggered entrances, which works if it's Sammy saying, I'll fight all of y'all, but he just basically stepped up and gave an advantage away for his entire team, and nobody seemed upset about it. And then Cash and Dax promoted Santana and Ortiz, but they were taking turns reciting lines to each other's counterparts. And this is stupid if they hate each other so much to just talk in turn to one another. This seemed like the start of a fucking angle between two sides instead of the end of it. And the fucking violent assault that hospitalized and turned all Jericho and his whole group babyface was a hell of a way to start if this is their go-home show for the fucking match. And MJF and Jericho were very good. But it was guys doing material about a hot-shotted match that's being given away on free TV 6 months too early, in just because they want to pop a fucking rating. But like I said, it started with a hospitalization and ended up talking mean to each other. And by the way, Chris, get with your rock and roll history. 1967 was the summer of love, not 1960. 1969 was Altamont and the end of the Flower Children.
Well, Woodstock, too.
Well, in Woodstock, but 67 was the summer of love.
That's right.
What about the Parlay, pal? What'd you think of their parlaying?
Not for me. I mean, I just can't get over the fact that they're doing all this and they did the beat down at Pinnacle. To me, the feud has never recovered. There's no more urgency to see Chris Jericho get his hands on MJF, to see MJF get his comeuppance, to see any of these guys get their beating. They've all gotten their beating. It's over. So
they
now
got it as soon as the baby faces came back and flushed MJF's head in the toilet. That's what I've said. They started out, they hospitalized the heels and switched them babyface. And then 2 weeks later, the baby faces come back and just kick the shit out of the heels, take all the heat off of them.
And now they just trade insults.
Then they announce a match, and now they just trade insults.
Now they just do comedy. Now they just trade insults and see who can get the biggest pop for the line that is closest to reality, really, is what when they're pointing out, Jericho's comedy bullshit, that's truth. It's just you can't believe they're saying it on the air. This isn't good. They've wasted MJF the same way they've wasted Adam Page. For almost the exact same period of time, actually. I'm interested. I'm curious to see the match, to see how it'll go, to see how it'll be messed up. Will there be lots of blood on TV? 2 rings in Daly's place? I mean, it'll be an interesting spectacle, but this whole feud has been booked ass backwards and wrong. And in terms of Parlay, that word and the use of it here and this whole thing smells of Chris Jericho. More than anything. Let's do a dinner debonair. Let's do a Parlay. Every interview he does.
Debonair, a Parlay without care.
Everything with Chris Jericho has a stupid name, something he thought of, I'm going to assume, in a vodka-fueled stupor, but not good. They've wasted MJF. Wardlow doesn't look anywhere near as intimidating, dressed like the DJ from D-Light. FTR have not done anything in months. Sean Spears, who gives a shit? I'm going to guess he's going to be the guy on the team that loses if anyone on that team loses. If that's the other thing. Based on everything they've done, if the heels now lose the match, then truly what was the point of any of this? So that tells you the heels have to win. I don't know.
The heels ain't going to win. I guarantee you.
I don't want this. Like Omega and Moxley, I thought that was over. When the exploding match happened, I said, well, this bomb didn't go off, but at least this bomb of a feud is over. And then it just keeps going.